Okay, so, picture this. You're lying in bed. It's late. You weren't even trying to think about money, but somehow you ended up on one of those retirement calculators.
Oh, the ones that ask your age and your salary, and then just judge you.
Exactly. And it spits out a number, something like $1.8 million.
And your stomach just drops.
Right. Because you look at your actual savings account, and it's nowhere close. And suddenly you're doing this mental math at 11 at night like, am I already behind? Did I miss something everyone else figured out?
I think almost everyone's had that exact moment. Alone, phone in hand, feeling like there's a finish line way out in the distance and you didn't even know the race had started.
And that feeling, that's what we want to talk about today. Not just the number, the feeling underneath the number. Because I think most people are asking the wrong question when it comes to retirement.
Yeah, and by the end of this, I don't think you're going to feel more scared. I think you're actually going to feel a little lighter. Welcome back to our show, where we learn, share, and grow together. I'm your host, G.
And I'm B. So here's the thing. Most people think retirement planning is this one giant fixed number, like there's a secret answer key somewhere, and if you don't hit it, you fail.
And that idea is everywhere. Every headline is competing to scare you the most. You need $3 million to retire. Most Americans have nothing saved. It's designed to make you anxious, because anxious people click.
But here's what nobody tells you. That giant number isn't really about you. It's a generic average, built for a hypothetical person who doesn't exist. Different city, different lifestyle, different health, different family situation.
It's like being handed someone else's shoe size and being told you're walking wrong.
That's a good way to put it. And I think that's why so many people just stop thinking about it. Not because they don't care, but because the topic feels so overwhelming. Avoiding it feels safer than facing a number that seems impossible.
Which is such a human response. If a problem feels unsolvable, the brain doesn't say, let's break it down. It says, let's not look at it at all.
So if you've avoided this, if you've closed that calculator tab and told yourself you'll deal with it later, that's not laziness. That's just how humans respond to fear dressed up as a math problem.
Okay, so let's actually take the fear out of it. Because underneath all the noise, there is a way to estimate this that's actually pretty human-sized.
It starts with a shift. Instead of asking, how much money do I need, ask, how much does my life actually cost every year once I stop working?
That's such a different question.
It is, because most people picture some huge lump sum sitting in a vault. But retirement isn't about a vault. It's about replacing your paycheck with something else. Investments, savings, maybe a pension that can cover your yearly expenses for the rest of your life.
So let's use a real example. Say someone figures out that in retirement, they'd need about $40,000 a year to live comfortably. Rent or mortgage paid off, groceries, health care, a little travel, gifts for grandkids, whatever their version of a good life looks like.
Now here's where the math gets almost elegant. There's a widely used guideline, sometimes called the 4% rule, that comes from research on how much you can withdraw from your investments each year without running out of money over a long retirement.
And the simple version of that math is, you take your yearly expenses and multiply by 25.
So $40,000 a year times 25 lands you around $1 million.
Which sounds huge. But notice what just happened. That number didn't come from a stranger's spreadsheet. It came from your actual life, your actual expenses.
And that changes everything psychologically. Because now it's not an abstract wall you're supposed to climb. It's a reflection of the life you're actually building.
And this is where compound interest comes in, which honestly might be the most underrated force in personal finance. Money that's invested doesn't just sit there. It grows on itself year after year quietly without you doing anything extra.
Someone once described it to me like a snowball rolling down a hill. Small at first. Almost embarrassing, honestly. But the longer it rolls, the more it picks up, and eventually the size of it has almost nothing to do with how it started, and everything to do with how long it's been rolling.
Which means the biggest variable isn't how rich you are today, it's time. Someone investing small amounts in their 20s can end up ahead of someone investing much larger amounts starting in their 40s, not because they're smarter, but because their money had longer to roll.
And that's not meant to stress out anyone who's starting later. It's meant to explain why starting, even small, matters more than starting big.
So here's where I think the real shift happens. Once you stop chasing a scary abstract number and start asking, what does my actual life cost? The goal stops being about wealth.
It becomes about freedom.
Yeah. Morgan Housel writes about this in The Psychology of Money. This idea that money's greatest value isn't the stuff it buys. It's the control it gives you over your own time.
And that hits different when you think about it that way. Because retirement isn't really about stopping work. It's about reaching a point where work becomes optional, where you're not trading your hours for survival anymore.
It's the difference between waking up because you have to and waking up because you chose to.
And once you see it that way, the anxiety starts to loosen its grip a little, because you're not chasing someone else's version of enough. You're figuring out your own.
Which is, honestly, a much calmer place to plan from.
So, practically, what does someone actually do with this?
First step, and it's simple but people skip it. Figure out roughly what your life costs now, not guess. Actually, look. Rent, food, bills, the small stuff that adds up.
That number becomes your compass. Because your future retirement number is really just a version of that, adjusted for whatever life you picture down the road.
From there, it's not about suddenly saving some extreme percentage of your income. It's about starting with something consistent, even a small automatic contribution into an investment account every month without having to think about it.
Consistency matters more than intensity here. This isn't a sprint where you need to sacrifice everything right now. It's closer to planting something and letting time do the quiet work.
And an emergency fund matters too, not as a retirement tool, but as a shock absorber. Because if life throws something unexpected at you and you have no cushion, that's usually when people are forced to pull from long-term savings early, which undoes a lot of that quiet compounding.
So the honest, non-dramatic version of the advice is, know your number, even roughly. Start small, but start. Protect that momentum with a cushion. And let time be your biggest collaborator, not your enemy.
You know, I think the reason this topic feels so heavy for people isn't really about money at all.
What do you mean?
I think it's about mortality, a little. Time passing. The fear of looking back one day and realizing you didn't prepare, that you'll owe your future self an apology.
That's real. But I don't think this has to be a story about fear. I think it can be a story about awareness. You don't need to have it all figured out tonight. You just need to know a little more than you did yesterday.
And that's genuinely enough for today.
If you're listening to this and you've never even calculated your number, that's okay. You're not behind. You're just early to paying attention compared to where you were yesterday.
Progress in this space is quiet. It doesn't feel dramatic in the moment, but small, steady steps, repeated for years, that's what actually builds a future you can breathe in.
So take a breath. You don't need perfection here.
You just need to start rolling the snowball.
If you have yet to open a brokerage account to start your investing journey, you may consider Interactive Brokers. Many benefits and features that they offer. You may check out the details from their website. You may support us by using the link in the description. Very much appreciated if you do.
Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, best wishes to your wealth building journey. Thanks, take care, and goodbye.